And right before we head out of the door, I want you to just dream a little bit with me, right? If imagine the next 20 years in St. Lucia, right? The next 20 years, and the justice system has gotten everything right. You know, everything has been fixed, and the system is working like clockwork. And you know, it's a very happy time. So, what changes do you think have been made to get there?
Okay, well, what I think would have been made to get there is that the halls of justice would have a home,
Oh yeah, yeah.
a fixed place of abode, under one roof in the same general location, so that lawyers and litigants can move from one court to the next without having to drive. That's the first thing I see. The next thing I see is the list of people on remand in prison awaiting their trial should be reviewed at least every 3 months or at appropriate intervals so that no person falls through the cracks and remains unnecessarily incarcerated and without due process. I'm thinking also that perhaps this would only come to fruition if somebody called a remand officer is appointed to ensure that whilst the lawyers in the Crown Prosecution Office and the DPP goes to court and the borderline correctional officers do their work, that one person is responsible just for remands to ensure that everybody's day in court, it comes and it is adjourned and they have that record and they are responsible for remands. That person preferably should be maybe somebody with a law degree or something like that, so they understand the process. So that would be cheaper for the government than for them to be paying loads of money when somebody slips through the cracks and ends up spending years in prison when they should have been out in a few days. Right. So I see that happening. I see a remand officer is what is needed to help in that process. I also see a legal aid office being given adequate resources to defend those who cannot defend themselves privately. Yeah. And this is important in light of the sacrosanct principle that every man is presumed to be innocent until he is found guilty. So the burden is on the prosecution to prove the guilt of the accused. So if the accused cannot put up a lawyer to defend himself, the state has to ensure that they have an adequately manned legal aid office to provide that service to the accused, because he might very well be a very innocent man.
Right. And by the way, given the size of St. Lucia, how many people do you see working in this perfect world legal aid office?
I see a legal aid office having at least 5 lawyers.
Okay.
I see at least 5 lawyers in the legal aid office. And I believe among themselves, they could organize the thing in such a way that the people are adequately represented.
Okay. All right.
Also, the last 2 things I see are that persons charged with murder can have their trials within 60 days. And those with less serious offenses can have their trials within 45 days of arrest. Now, that is what the criminal procedure rules contemplate, but that never happens. So in an ideal world, I'm seeing that we can follow those protocols and everybody work towards achieving those kinds of mandates. Right. And finally, I see police stations, I said so earlier, having the assistance of an assigned public prosecutor that they can liaise with. So if there are 10 public prosecutors, maybe 1 per district or 2 per district. So if I'm a police officer in a Mikud station and I have a matter that I'm not sure what to do, I can call Jack Jones, who is the one assigned to Miku, and say, Mr. Jack Jones, I know it's Sunday, but I've arrested somebody and I want advice as to how to proceed. This is the section of the code I'm minded to charge under, but can you advise? So that police officer is less likely to embarrass the Crown prosecution officers when they go to court with that case, only to find that the police officer made a total blunder with the process. So
Right.
I see that as one of the last things that can be done to assist in bringing us closer to a perfect situation.
Okay, and I want to say that's very well said, very well quantified, and also, honestly, it does not sound very difficult.